You know what's funny is that I just wrote those stories because I just posted them. I didn't think twice about it. I just thought, hey, I have a funny story. You guys should, I got some cool stories. And I posted it. And then somebody said they wanted me to write a book. And I took half of those stories and I put them in a book. And I said, well, this isn't very long. I've got some other good stories. I'm going to put those in a book too. So I kind of, threw it together kind of haphazardly. I didn't take it very serious. I've always said it's just a glorification of it cost me a lot to make. And it came out, I hope to break even on it, which I had to sell 300 or 350 copies. And I ended up selling all of them, which is 1,063 copies in a matter of 7 months. That was incredible to me. I couldn't believe that I did that, and it surprised me, and I was like, wow, people must find me entertaining. Note that I didn't say I think that they like me, I think they find me entertaining. And it was a strange way to kind of just come about. Like, again, it's another thing that fell in my lap almost. And so what happened was, for my second book, I kind of said, okay, people find this interesting. I'm going to write an actual book. Like, I'm going to put it together with the idea and the concept of it being an actual book. And so I put a little more effort into it. Put a lot more honesty and a lot more vulnerability into it. I thought more about instead of just taking, here are these stories, let's just put them in a book. I said, okay, let's put them in an order that I think reads well. And so I put a lot more time, a lot more effort into it instead. And it was like going from grade school to high school. It's like I wanted to see that progression. I wanted to see. I took a little chances in some of the things by putting out a lot more about myself than I really intended to, and I did little things in there, like I put in those little stories that were 1 page long in my second book because I wanted to try a little bit different style, and I know it doesn't seem like that edgy or that unique of a concept, but for me, for a dude who does it all himself, it was a little bit, I was trying new things. They were difficult in different ways. The first one was really difficult because it was the first one, and I didn't know where to go. It's like the first time the first time I ever played Detroit, first time I ever wanted to speak, it was scary because I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know who I was talking to. I walked in the room. I didn't know if anyone was going to show up. I didn't know if I brought enough merchandise to sell. I didn't know if I brought enough books. I didn't know how people were going to respond to it. I didn't know. And so to kind of open the door and walk into that room and stand there on the stage with the microphone, that was really difficult for me. The second, the third, the fourth time I've been back there, it's easy. It's easy now, because I already know. I don't have to go over that hump, that initial, oh my God, this is the first time. So as far as the first book went, it was really difficult because I didn't know where to go. I didn't know how to make PDF files. I didn't know how to find a good designer or good editor, a good printer. So in that was really difficult. And the second one, it was really difficult because now I had expectations. I had people expecting something because nobody knew what to expect with the first book. They're like, oh, that's what you do, okay. And for the second book, people are like, okay, well, you've already done this well. You need to do at least this well, kind of thing, And so it was really difficult for me to kind of, they refer to it as the sophomore slump. You hit one out of the park the first time, and they expect you to do just as well the second time. So there's a little bit of pressure on it, and by that right, I was trying to be honest and vulnerable and take risks, and at the same time, I was still trying to be true to myself and trying to still hit one out of the park. I wanted a CD. I went and I took some of my favorite posts that seem to get the best response from people. I think that's kind of more of my real writing. Like, I tell stories in the book, but my writing is what you see on the live journal, are those really vulnerable posts. That's my writing, and those are the ones that I'm proud of. And those are the ones that seem to get a really good response from a lot of the readers. And so I said, well, what I like to do is a lot of times I like to put myself in people who like what I do in their shoes. What I probably interesting things that I like. What I was saying, and when I said that, I was like, oh, I think I'd like to hear that in that dude's voice. I'd like to hear, like, because there's only so much passion you can get out of a keyboard, and then I think it translates differently when you hear it come out of their mouth. And the reason why I say that is because I used to love this author named David Sedaris. He's huge in America, and he's this amazing, he's very dry, very witty, it's technically fiction, but it's like non-fiction short stories of his childhood, and I loved him, and so I went to go see him speak, and when he spoke and he read the same stories that I was used to, it came off completely different because I wasn't used to seeing him. Wasn't used to seeing him enunciate certain things, and I was like, wow, it took on a whole new life. It was like this different monster, and I was like, I think that I could apply that to what I do. And so I went and I decided to take my favorite ones, and I recorded it, and I can't listen to it whatsoever because it's like hearing your voice on an answering machine. You're like, oh, is my voice really that nasally? And yeah, but basically I just really wanted the CD, so yeah, and then everybody bootlegged it. Awesome. Yeah, whatever. I'll tell you why they were important to me, because the book Get in the Band by Henry Rollins shows you not only what it's really like to be touring, but what it's like to be desperate and touring, and to have a dream, and to keep fighting and clawing and scratching at the underbelly of America and the world, actually, and to make them hear you, and to keep fighting and to keep raging regardless of how many people are in that room. And that's what they did in that thing. And you hear and you feel the desperation and how desperate they are to make themselves heard. And it doesn't matter when it is. There's bands out there right now. There's people right out there right now who are doing the exact same thing, who are surviving on, ramen noodles, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and going to bed at night hungry because they are so passionate about their art. And that exemplifies it more than any book I've ever read. And on top of it, it happens to be about Black Flag, which is one of the greatest bands in the world. Can't Be Neutral on a Moving Train by Howard Zinn, because it completely changed my perspective on social injustice and social inequality. You have an opinion on everything. And how do you get that opinion? You get it through, what you see and what's fed to you. And here was this guy who was in America, and he was struggling for equal rights and whatnot. And it's about his journal, or his journey through all this and up until now. And it opened my eyes to a lot of stuff, and I didn't see it from certain perspectives. And he makes you see it from different perspectives, so that's why it's an awesome book. Still Life with Woodpecker, because it changed my outlook on what romance is, and it made me understand that romance and love isn't an easy thing, and that if anything, it's romance and love is for outlaws. And that's kind of what he kind of projects in that book, is that real love isn't safe, it's not easy, it's never easy, and that's how you know it's real. Because if it's easy, it's something else. And so I reread that book at least once a year.